Have you ever walked away from a conversation and felt worse but couldn't explain why? Nothing was said that sounded wrong. No one yelled. No one insulted you. But somehow, you feel smaller than you did 5 minutes ago. That feeling isn't random, and by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why it happens. Because manipulation almost never looks like the movies. It doesn't come with a villain laugh. It comes disguised as normal conversation. That's what makes it work. I remember telling a friend I couldn't lend them money again. And somehow, 20 minutes later, I was the one apologizing for not being supportive enough. I didn't even notice the flip happen. For a long time, I thought that meant I was in the wrong. That maybe I really was being difficult or selfish or too sensitive. Turns out, that confusion itself is the tell. Manipulation doesn't usually feel like an attack. It feels like self-doubt that showed up out of nowhere. So today, 5 signs someone might be manipulating you, even if everything on the surface looks completely fine. Sign number 4 is the one that gets mistaken for the other person, just being thoughtful, and is the hardest one to catch. Let's get into it. Sign 1, you constantly feel guilty around them for no clear reason. This is usually the first clue, and most people miss it because it feels like a you problem instead of a them problem. You set a normal boundary. I can't tonight, I don't agree with that doesn't work for me. And somehow you end up the one over-explaining, apologizing, backpedaling. Not because you did anything wrong, because they made the boundary itself feel like an offense. Healthy relationships can hold a no without punishment. If every boundary gets met with guilt, sighing, or subtle hurt feelings, that's not you being difficult. That's a pattern. Sign 2, their story changes depending on who's in the room. Watch how someone talks about the same situation to different people. Manipulators are often incredibly consistent about one thing: inconsistency. The story that gets you sympathy from your friends is not the same story they tell your mutual friend. The version where they're the victim shifts depending on the audience. If you've ever heard a secondhand version of an argument and thought, that's not what actually happened, trust that feeling. Manipulation relies on you never comparing notes. Sign 3, compliments always come with a hook. You're so much better than the others I've dated. I can actually tell you the truth, unlike everyone else. You're the only one who really gets me. These sound like compliments, but listen closely. They're often quietly setting you up. Setting you up to feel special, chosen, responsible for keeping that specialness intact, which means when you eventually do something normal, disagree, set a boundary, spend time elsewhere, it feels like you're betraying that specialness they handed you. Real compliments don't come with quiet expectations attached. Manufactured ones almost always do. Sign 4. This is the one almost nobody catches. Here it is, like I promised. They rarely ask you directly for what they want. They make you feel like it was your idea. Think about it. A direct request is easy to say no to. Can you cover my shift? You can just say no, but manipulation often skips the request entirely. Instead, a sigh, a comment about how overwhelmed they are, a mention of how no one ever helps them out. And somehow, you find yourself offering, volunteering, feeling generous even. That's what makes this one so hard to spot. It doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like your own kindness. But notice the pattern. If you almost never get to just say no because the ask never actually gets said out loud, that's not a coincidence. That's engineered. Sign 5, you question your own memory more than you used to. This is the deepest one, and often the last one people notice. That never happened. You're remembering it wrong. I never said that. At first, it's one conversation. Then it's a pattern. And slowly, you start double-checking yourself before you even bring things up. You start keeping texts as proof. You start doubting things you clearly remember. This has an actual name: gaslighting. And the reason it works isn't because you have a bad memory. It's because trusting someone means, by default, giving them the benefit of the doubt over yourself. Manipulators use that trust against you, one small denial at a time. Here's what I actually want you to take from this. None of these signs, on their own, prove someone is manipulating you. People misremember things. People get defensive. That's human. What matters is the pattern. Does this keep happening in the same shape over and over, and do you keep ending up smaller, guiltier, and more confused after it? That night I apologized for not lending money. I didn't have. I wasn't wrong. I was managed. You are allowed to trust what you actually experienced. You don't need a confession from them to believe your own perception. The goal here isn't to become suspicious of everyone. It's to stop doubting yourself the second something feels off. That instinct, the one that made you click this video in the first place, was already telling you something true. If 2 or more of these hit close, I'm not going to tell you what to do about it. That's your call to make. But I will tell you this: noticing it is the first step you actually control. Tell me in the comments, which sign was the hardest one to admit to yourself? I read every single one, and honestly, this channel exists because of what you all share down there. If this helped you make sense of something, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more real psychology, no fluff, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.